If there is anything you need to know about the new Nigerian tax law, it's the fact that you are about to get poorer, especially if you don't get paid by the government. Inflation has driven millions upon millions of Nigerians into poverty, but now the Nigerian government has even devised a way to even make you poorer, and they are getting away with it as usual. Let me explain. There are multiple provisions of the new Nigerian tax law that make me question the motive behind it, whether it was written with the realities of ordinary Nigerians in mind. Why do I say that? The new tax law proudly states that anyone earning minimum wage or below is exempt from the tax. That sounds like mercy, at least on paper, until you see the actual minimum wage, 70,000 naira, for a whole month of work. If you save the whole salary from January to December without spending a naira, no rent, no food, no transportation, no school fee, you will still end up with an amount that cannot buy a motorcycle. Now imagine you are married, or you have a child, or you fall sick, or you need to pay your rent, or you need to eat, food. But before we go any further, here is the pen and here is the paper. I want the people who drafted this law to explain to the nation how exactly is an adult Nigeria supposed to survive on 70,000 naira with the current rate of inflation. Disclaimer, I'm not saying tax is evil. Neither am I saying you shouldn't pay your tax. In fact, I made a video about how to calculate your tax since I don't want you to be arrested because tax evasion is now a punishable crime according to our new tax reform. So you can go to jail for it. However, in Nigeria, especially at this present moment, tax is probably not the best approach. But before I continue, I have a very important question. How much do you need to earn in Nigeria today to live like a living soul? Because instead of discussing salary increments or price control or any means they can use to tame the inflation, they are discussing how to take more from people who almost have nothing in the first place. For you to know how bad things has really gotten, let's flash back to some years back. I can still remember recently, not too long ago, I'm talking about 2006 till about 2009 to 2011, primary and secondary school teacher in government school could easily afford a decent car, used but decent, and a decent life. Now, a university professor, the height of all academics, can't afford to buy a Toyota Corolla even if they save all their salaries, salaries, from January to December for 2 years without spending a dime, whereas our politicians are driving the highest stream of all things on wheels. Now, the problem with this kind of payments or this kind of economy is the fact that we are not going to get any professional in our public sectors, because every single person that knows the value of their work and they know what they are capable of will not settle for most of these payments. Only very few people who have been working in the public sector for a while will remain. And there is no way our public sector will be affected and it will not affect the economy. In fact, the quality of our products in schools, in places of work and other places will be drastically reduced if we continue to dish out this kind of payments as salary. The more I think about it, the more it seems like our leadership decided to implement this law now because they just don't want to govern a happy population. Maybe they notice that despite the level of unemployment and insecurity in the country, Nigerians still find a way to be happy and they are not happy about that. Maybe because an happy person may be very, very difficult to control. Or maybe the pursuit of the petrodollars is not enough for the looters among them again. Maybe. Now, let's talk about petrol. Nigeria is an OPEC member, one of the world's largest oil producers. Yet, Nigeria pays some of the worst fuel price relative to income. Petrol sells for within 920 naira today to 1,200 naira, depending on which part of the country you live. With the 70,000 naira minimum wage, it means your 70,000 naira will be able to buy 76 litre max. If you live in some other places where you pay 1,200, it means you can't even buy up to 70 litre. Without even that 76 litre is less than what some buses use in Lagos in a single day. Some public buses use more than 76 litre in a single day. If you need to travel long distance, you spend more than that in a single day. And that is what we are paying somebody the full month's reward for their work. Now, if you look at the fact that you can get up to 100 litre with Nigerian minimum wage, let's compare it to other countries that also produce petrol. Let's go to Libya. The minimum wage in Libya can get you up to 3,000 litres of petrol. As if that was not enough, let's go to Iran. Iran minimum wage will get you nothing less than 3,400 litres of petrol. Nigeria, less than 100 litres of petrol with your minimum wage. The most annoying part of the whole thing is that the new tax law are enforceable by force and every citizen must comply with it or risk the penalty. But the government is invisible in delivering their own promises. The damage that has been done to this country is beyond the scope of rationality. Imagine there are no roads in the whole of the southwest region where you can drive for 30 minutes straight without running into pothole. And in case you don't know, a road is supposed to last nothing less than, let me say a good road is supposed to last nothing less than 15 to 25 years if it's an asphalt. If it's concrete, it can last upward of 35 years. Which means if government construct a road and there is need for any major work within the next 3 to 4 tenure after that particular government, then some set of individual or a company, a construction company that took the project, ask questions to answers. But the people that are supposed to ask them this question are not asking anything. Even when they ask, they just ask, talk about it, and life continue. Why it's like that, I don't know. We can call it corruption, but I think it's more than corruption. Over the years, trillions of petrol dollars have passed through this country. What am I even saying? Trillion? What do we have after trillion? Even after that, that is how much of money we've made in this country from petrol. Yet, the system consistently failed to account for how much was spent, how it was spent, and why the basic infrastructure is still collapsing. Because if you tell me, oh, we are not corrupt, we are not, show me how you spend the money. Because if you spend the money the way you are supposed to spend the money, we are not supposed to be having that kind of horrible road that we have from Ile-Ife to Ibadan, or from Oyo, from Ibadan to Ogbomoso, or from Ibadan to Oyo, and every other part of this country. From the east, I traveled to the east recently. The road was horrible. So if you tell me, oh, we spend the money with the way we are supposed to spend it, which is providing these basic amenities, which is providing security for the citizens of the country, protecting the life and properties of citizens of this country, then why do we still have this level of insecurity and the government is saying nothing about it? Why don't we have any road? So, they have all those questions to answer, but nobody answers it. Imagine how audaciously stupid it sounds to say you cannot account for 210 trillion naira. That's more than the money of Aliko Dangote times 6 or times 7. And you are telling me Aliko Dangote is the richest man in this country. So some people have that money. So because if you cannot account for it, it's with some people. And there is nothing that has been done about it. Which means there are some people that took something that is more than what Aliko Dangote have times 7. That is just one time. We are not talking about the remaining they've been doing for 60, 70 years. Between a space of 5 or how many years, I don't even know. Now, the same system wants to tax every liter of fuel you buy, every income you earn. Sometimes it feels like they want to tax your breath, your happiness, and everything you have in you. Obviously, that's probably an exaggeration, but it's starting to feel like it. I used to fight people who are used to making the claim that Nigeria can never be better. I mean, I can't count how many of them I've fought in my life because I'm a very, very patriotic citizen of this country. And I love this country. Every member of my family knows me for that. My dad, my mom, everybody knows me for that. You can't say any negative thing about Nigeria wherever I am. I don't care who you are. You can't. I don't care who you are. But at this rate, especially with the new tax law and the current situation of the country, I want to apologize. Or I don't know. Should I even apologize to you people? Because you guys seem to be right with what we are saying. Seems some set of people want to drag the country back. What is in the new tax law raises uncomfortable ethical question about governance, representation, and whether citizen well-being is truly part of the decision-making process. Whether it was written with the realities of ordinary Nigerian citizens in mind. Because it all seems like no. Yeah, anyways, everybody, please, now we need to pay tax. And why it may not be the most appealing thing to tell you guys at the moment, I will still beg you, please pay your tax. Let's give them the benefit of doubt for the last time. And let's hope that something good will come out of it, hopefully. But I think the first step to making the country work is to make sure under your own regime, nobody can embezzle mismanagement of funds or whatever it is under your government. That is the first way to stop all these things. We are not asking for much. Make sure people are punished for the crime they commit. Make sure anybody that cannot account for a particular money pay the ultimate price for it. Nothing more. So if somebody is giving the money to construct a road, the road must be seen. And the road must last as long as it's supposed to last. So if the road cannot last as much as it's supposed to last, then somebody has questions to answer, and ultimately they need to pay the price for that. I mean, leading a country is not something that is very easy. I mean, being a class rep in secondary school is not that easy, not to talk of leading a whole country of over 200 million people. So it's not easy. Let our country work. Let us not need to travel outside the country to live like decent human beings. Thank you all very much for your time. I really appreciate it, and I'll see you the next one. Please pay your tax, pay your tax, pay your tax. It's probably not the best or the most appealing advice at this moment, but please, this country needs to work. And whether they like it or not, this country will work.